Now we're moving to the back half, and this is the tricky part. So we went to Harbor Freight, and after going to Amazon and other places, we found this thing, and it's cheap. It's literally $39.99. I think it's on sale for $32, and if you get one of those stupid 20% off coupons, it's even cheaper. It's Black Widow, 1,000 pounds. I think it's item number 65620, and it's on Harbor Freight, and this thing's awesome. So get one of these because it's for $32. You're going to use it anyways. So we're going to go ahead and put this on. So again, it takes two people. One person to hold this, and the other person, you got it? Mm-hmm. All right. Over here. So all you have to do is line this up like this. It turns, these turn, just like this. And you can lock it in just like this. And once both sides are there, you just push up just like this and it rolls. Perfect. Let's see if we're still in the camera view here. Okay. So now what we're going to do, blue tape. You need this. So most people have the extensions to do this. So the first thing we do is tape this. You're kind of going to see why, but you have to leave this so that you can still turn this. And we're going to do it on the other side because we're going to lay the chain on there. We have to expose this bolt.
This is going to keep it from scratching or doing any damage to your frame extensions. So not scraping any of the anodizing, or if you had a polish set, it's not going to put any scratches into the extensions themselves.
So take your 6mm key, and you're going to loosen this up so that you can loosen up the chain. So we loosen these up pretty loose. Take that. We take the other side. Uh-oh. Okay. You need to get an end here and the other ends. So we're going to have to get the tool that either comes with the kit, or I believe it's a, you should have a kit. This is a 14, 17. And the other is a 17. And if you have your tool kit, okay, so we're going to loosen this up. Got a hand here. And then we're going to have to get our tool kit so we can turn these and get them loose. So we have our tool kit here. We sell these as well. If your tool kit, your special tool does not fit flush, because maybe this is too wide, you can always take a flat file and you can, just takes a little bit, file both sides off until it fits flush. And then you're going to bring it here so you have slack on the chain. And I'm going to grab the camera and we're going to show you what we're going to do. Loosen the chain and we're going to pull this off. And we're going to set the chain right on top of this here. Just like that. Okay, so let me set this down here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the axle, this end, and I don't feel like getting my hands dirty, so I'm just going to hold the wheel.
I'll volunteer.
We just hold that, and then this usually goes. Hold it. Okay, let me pull this. I'll kind of just lean this over on the side there. Or you can just lean it over. Let's see here like this. We have a short line kit because most of you guys had this kinked up, so we sell a short line kit. Okay, so you have your spacers,
Which we're already on there, which you've seen in the other videos for the extensions.
at least you heard it kind of fell, so just keep them on the same side. Then you have a spacer on this wheel right here. Keep on that side. Okay. Now let's see here. Alright. So, if you notice this right here, we don't have something on there. And we're going to show you that we've already taken it off. So if you could hold this wheel, or grab me the other. I'll hold this wheel. So this is what yours is going to look like. Just like this. It's going to have this ring on here. But this ring will not fit like this. So, there's two options. You can drill this out, pry it, beat it. It's got too much time. So, instead of you guys calling us and asking us, how do you get this off? Because as you can see here, we've done it. We had to drill it, pry it off, just to get this off. We said, hey, we're just going to give you a stock 34 tooth steel GT sprocket, and you don't have to mess with this. It's included in the kit. Don't ask us to take it off. It's already included, and you don't have to mess with this anymore.
It's going to make things a lot easier.
So, now that we got that, we're going to take off this rotor and show you some other things.
Okay, so now that we have the wheel out, this is going to slide right off. And you got these rubber, I don't know what you call them, bumps?
Cushions.
Cushions, there you go. You're going to take these four out because you will be using these with the new rear hub. And then on this side here, we're going to be removing the rotor.
Now your rotor's not going to look like this. It's going to look stock. But we have some aftermarket braking, which we sell as well. They're a little bit thicker, by like maybe 1/2 mil than stock. So we're going to take these off because we're going to reuse them.
Alright, so as you can see, this one has our TRS sprocket cover on here. I have it on loose because I had to take it off. And with this, you're going to be removing it.
Now you may have your own aftermarket sprocket cover on, or the stock one. We're going to give you some spacers, but we're not going to give you the longer bolts. You're going to have to get 5mm longer bolts depending on what you have. And we don't know the thickness of your bolts or what you originally have, so we're not including the bolts, but we are going to give you the spacers. So this is what comes with it. And you're going to get 2 extra ones to go on there, or you can leave it off. But
the reason why we're adding these is because you're going to be removing the sprocket. You're going to have to flip it, and that's what we're going to show you right now. And with doing that, it pushes it out like this, which is going to center the chain with the new rear hub. but if you had a different sprocket, your old sprocket cover on there, it would end up rubbing against it, and that's what these spacers are for. So what you're going to want to do is you want to put it in gear, and then these are two 10 mil bolts. And actually, I'm going to take the chain off. It's a little bit easier that way. So for this one, you have to use an open end wrench like this because of the shaft here, the splines that are coming out. You're not going to be able to get a socket in there. If you do, you might round off the edges of the bolt. So when you have it in gear, it gives you a little bit of leverage. You're going to head and remove these bolts. You can see they're not too long, so you don't have a lot of work ahead of you. I'm going to put it in neutral, get it back in gear so I can get a nice spot here. Put it back in gear. Okay, so now that you have this off, you can turn this. It's going to slide off shaft there, and same thing with the sprocket. Now essentially what we're trying to do is you're going to have the sprocket flipped, and this piece, which was now on the outside, is going to go on the inside. So that would be first like so, and you're going to, it's going to be a little difficult, but you put the two 10 mil bolts in first, and it's going to help you out when you're trying to tighten this up. So you can see here I have my fingers holding it up, but I have both the bolts threaded in just a little bit, and there's a fair amount of gap, because what you're going to want to do is try to keep your fingers in between here, line it up, and you can see there's that groove on the shaft there. You're going to want to get this on there so you can turn, and it's what's actually going to hold it, because otherwise if you just try to slide it on like this, it's not going to catch. So you're going to have to keep that gap like I'm doing with my fingers, slide it on, and then turn it to a little bit angle so that it locks in place. This way your sprocket's not going to slide right off. So it may take a minute or so, but once you got it on there, you'll feel it, because it's not going to be able to slide back off without you having to turn it. There we go. So as you can see, I have it on there finger tight now, but once that second piece gets onto the spline and it turns and locks, that now will allow the sprocket to line up and stay on the shaft here, so that it's not going anywhere. So now you have to do is just get back in here with the 10 mil and tighten these two up, and now you've flipped the sprocket.
I'm just going to show you how kind of it's going to be hard with the gloves or the, let's see if I can get in here. There you go. Then he loosens it, turns it where he needs to turn it.
It's probably better to get here, you got a little bit more of a leverage. Play around with it so you can get it into a spot where it's going to fit a little bit better. So now I made sure that that's on there tight. You will see it still wiggles, because that's essentially, there's still that gap between it, and even on when it was factory it shook like that. So what you're going to do next is go ahead and take the chain and run it back over. And with us, put the sprocket cover back on with the spacers and the longer bolts that we had to put on.
So as you can see, we've taped up here where the kickstand goes. Got taped up here, and we also are going to tape up the wheel.
I'll just go ahead and tighten this up, and this will be all set for this side.
So we got everything done here, and once you tighten that up, I think the next video is going to be putting on the back wheel, which is pretty in depth. So we're going to show you some tools that you're going to need. So again, what do you say?
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next video, which is going to be putting that rear wheel on. This one was all about the preparation for putting on the rear wheel.